So welcome to our Fairy Tale and Mocktail class, Fairy Tale Mocktails. We wanted to do a drink class that went along with our theme of fairy tales and stories. And so I've picked these out off of Pinterest. Almost all of them come off of Pinterest on the first handout. The second handout is just my summer recipe magazines, just the issues from this year, and also I found the one on the New York Times website too, a mocktail. So that's where the recipes come from. But in particular, there's a couple of books on the second section also that I used. So today, if we were doing, looking at the handout, I put the sanding sugar right at the beginning and the simple sugars we want to talk about, because that's how you enhance a drink. You decorate it and you can make it fancy just by putting simple sugar around the rim of a glass and then dipping it in sanding sugar. And I've got several colors of sanding sugar, but these I bought at like Williams Sonoma, but you can make your own, and I included that recipe. It's basically just putting food coloring in a baggie with sugar and then mixing it with your hands. It might be a fun project for kids. And then you just bake it a little bit to set the dye in the sugar, and then you can store it, and that lasts for a really long time. So that's just the first page. The second page, we talk about simple sugars. Simple sugars is like if you wanted to sweeten a drink. Many of us have made lemonade before, and we just put granulated sugar, and then you stir and stir and stir until that's dissolved. And finally, at the bottom of the glass, there's all that sugar. After you've drinking it, it's all has settled to the bottom. So by making the simple sugar, which is boiling usually a 1-to-1 ratio of water and sugar until it's clear and all the sugar is dissolved, you can keep that in a canning jar, a glass jar in your fridge for quite a long time. And then you can add it to your drinks whenever you want, and it blends really well. Then you don't have to wait for any of the crystallization to go away. So a lot of these recipes have the simple sugar recipe because they've tweaked it either by adding fruit or coloring or some sort of creme de menthe, some sort of, I don't know, ingredient that is just for that special drink. The very first drink I'm going to explain to you or show you is an Italian soda, and that's just on page 2. My daughter, when she got married in August, we had an Italian soda bar at her wedding reception, so people could go and pick their favorite flavor of, I think it's Torrini flavorings that you can get at World Market. And like hazelnut syrup, all these kind of syrups. But today I'm just going to show you with a grenadine syrup how to do that. So let's get started. I'm going to switch my camera to the overhead camera. Let's make sure it's on. And then you can see the tabletop, like what I'm actually doing. There we go. Okay, so you can see my mess, all my mix of drinks and ingredients. And we're going to, you'll be able to see what I'm doing right in front. Okay, that looks pretty good. That means that right there's the middle. Maybe I want to tweak that out a little. Okay. So all of a sudden, I think that's just right in the middle here. Let me clear a spot. Got all my drinks and mixers. These are all non-alcoholic. I don't drink, and so it's fun for me to just kind of play around with drink recipes and try my hand at them. Okay. So the first one is the Italian soda. This one calls for making a homemade sweet syrup with berries and boiling it with the strawberries and then draining it and strain it, and then you've got this nice strawberry syrup kind of thing. But today I'm just going to use the grenadine, which is, can you guys see that? This is just, I'll tell you, all this stuff was at H-E-B, which was, I was really pleased to find that they carry a lot of these mixer kind of components. So Your Italian soda, you would take your tall glass and you want to fill it with ice. Oops. And you pour the 2 ounces of you fill the glass, you pour a quarter part of syrup over that. So I'll fill this up quite a ways. So that's about a fourth filled. I don't know if you can see that. And then I'm going to I don't have cream, I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm just going to put pina colada, but you would put cream. Okay. And then you fill the rest with club soda. And this makes a beautiful layered drink. You guys see that? That's really hard to see. Can you see that? The red's at the bottom. And then you take whipping cream and put on top. And again, I like this non-dairy coconut milk, the Ready Whip that's coconut milk. So you can use that and you shake it up and then you put that on top. And then the person who's drinking it can put their tall spoon in and then stir it and distribute it all up. And you whisk it all up and make a really frothy, nice pink drink. So hopefully you can see that. There you go. You guys can see that one. Okay. The second one we're going to look at is on page, it is on page 4. It's the Captain America drink. Okay. So this one, let me get an 8-ounce glass. It's a small glass this time. Okay, and in here goes a half a cup of lemonade. And I just cheated and bought a lemonade. And my measuring cup is over here. I'm going to pour half a cup of lemonade, a quarter cup of Sprite, and I just have the H-E-B lemon lime. Oh, here's my quarter. So still we have a clear liquid. Then you take 2 ounces of cranberry juice. Now cranberry juice is, this one I did a juice blend because cranberry juice by itself is really tart. So I did a half and half. 2 ounces is half of a quarter of a cup. Or if you've got one of these jiggers, it would be 2 of these jiggers. There's the bigger top, okay? And then 1.5 teaspoons of grenadine. That's just a little, so I'm just gonna squeeze. Not that much. Okay. Oh, I was supposed to put, hold on. I was supposed to dip that one. I forgot. We were gonna make this one a sugar encrusted. So I'm dipping it in the simple sugar. The simple sugar that I boiled at a 1-to-1 ratio. And then I'm going to dip it in these sprinkles and glitter and sprinkle it around and try to get it to stick to the rim. Okay. So then I've got this encrusted blue glass. Can you see that okay? That's fun, huh? Okay, and then Then I gently, without touching the rim, pour that drink in. And then of course you're going to add ice. Okay. So there we go. That's the Captain America, blue and red, okay? Okay, and then on that same page, there's a Jungle Book punch, and that's 12 ounces of pina colada mix. Okay, so this was the pina colada mix that I got at HEB. So it's already mixed. You can also get a squeeze bottle. I show a picture of that later on. So I'm going to do, I'm going to have this recipe because it makes too much for my household. So I'm going to do 6 ounces of the pina colada mix, which is 3/4 of a cup. Let me get this. This one I'm going to rim the glass in orange. I've got orange. Maybe I just have yellow. Let's see. I do just have yellow. That'll work though. Again, I'm going to put it in my simple syrup mixture for the rim, get it coated, and then put it in here. You can do this on a plate. A plate works really well. Okay, so you guys, can you see that? So I've decorated the outside of the cup with yellow. Okay. So then I'm going to I'm going to add pineapple juice. Now I did a mixture of pineapple and mango. So okay. So we just need, let me see where my recipe went. Okay, so a cup of each, but I'm doing half of that. So I'm just doing half a cup of both pineapple more than likely you would do this in a different container and then pour it into your special decorated glass. Okay, and then it's another half a cup of ginger ale. Whoa, there we go, frothy. Okay. So then I'm supposed to mix that up. Let me just mix that together, and then you pour in the coconut, the pina colada. You guys see that okay? And we can add some ice into that. That's our Jungle Book themed one. Let me move this one out of the way. Now I'm going to do a heavy, the next one is a lemonade, and that's on page 6. So it is a lemonade with a heavy blue syrup at the bottom. So in order to do that, I go ahead and make my lemonade. Let's say it has the recipe for homemade lemonade, and you've done that. And then go ahead and let's decorate this glass too. I'm going to decorate it with the blue. So again, I'm going to take this. This is my simple syrup that's going to go around the rim. And you can actually put this in the freezer and make it a frosty glass too. That works really well. Okay, so I'm going to pour half of this full of lemonade. And as I'm taking one cup of the simple syrup, and I'm adding a package of Kool-Aid, of blue Kool-Aid, and in the recipe it calls for blue food dye, and that works just fine too. So let's see if this will work. Ooh, we've got a cool blue going here, just with the Kool-Aid. Okay, so again, this is heavier, so scientifically it's going to fall to the bottom of the glass supposedly, and it's just sugar water. So usually you would make your lemonade more on the sour side so that it's not too sweet. There you go. You guys see that? It's kind of layered. The bottom's it's an ombre effect. The bottom's really dark and then it gets lighter as it goes to the top. Okay? That's kind of a fun one. Like if you were doing an Elsa party or something like that, that would be a good one. The other thing you could do with that is add the pina colada cream, because that would make it look like snow, or whipped cream would act like the snow for Elsa. Okay. Moving on. That's the same with the Cheshire Cat. You would do the same thing. You would use the blue in a bottom of a drink. Let me grab another glass. You could do another one would be the Cheshire Cat, and it on the recipe it calls for red at the bottom and blue on top, but we're going to do the opposite. We would do, now let me see if this is going to work. I'm going to experiment. Just going to add the cranberry juice. So that's the red cranberry juice, and then I've got my heavy simple syrup. And let me see what happens. It'll either turn purple or we'll get blue at the bottom. And it turned purple. It didn't divide like I was hoping it would divide. I don't know if you can see it. Kind of purpley grape, which would be an okay drink or something. That's the other thing. I'm going to show you some garnishes too, but if you get something like this and you want to garnish it, then if you just put some grapes in it, everybody would think that you did that on purpose. Made a purple concoction, and then you can just put a lime slice on it and decorate it that way. Okay? Lots of things to do. And then there's just two more that I just want to show you. And one is the Jolly Roger Punch. Okay, so this one, let me put it right. I like these really tall glasses for fun drinks. These are really inexpensive at H-E-B, like $1 or something. So they're fun to get. I think they're beer glass. So I'm going to do mango. It calls for mango, orange, and pineapple. And it's a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts of the mango and to 1 part orange juice. So again, I would just do 2 1/4 cups and then a 1/4 cup of orange. this is more of a tropical one. And the fun thing about this one, you could put this garnish on it. That is a pineapple slice that's been cut, but there's a toothpick that goes through the slice vertically, through the cherry and into the other end. So then you can hang this little doodad on there, which is really kind of cute to add it, and it really looks tropical. Now I could make it even more tropical by sanding the outside too, you know, making it put it yellow or something. But you can also just put a lemon slice there too. Okay. And then the very last one I want to show you is in the second part of the handouts. It's the very first page in the magazine and book section. And what it is that I don't even know how to pronounce it, compote, I guess, instead of a C-O-M-P-O-T-E, it's a K-O-M-P-O-T. And what it is you take your very ripe plums and peaches and berries that are maybe just on their way to being overly ripe, and you go and make that into a syrup. You have water and sugar. I'm going to show you. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way, because we're going to make that one right now. To do it, I have a strainer with a bowl, and I've been cooking this concoction. And it's supposed to cook, this is, I halved the recipe, so it's 2 peaches and 2 plums, sugar, and what else? Oh, a cinnamon stick broken in pieces. So you can see that it's kind of a spicy, fruity mixture, and you're supposed to just keep it like this in your fridge. Then you add water, and then you refrigerate it for 12 hours, 4 to 12 hours, and then you strain it all out. So I'm going to look and see what we've got. Okay. I would wait until this is all strained out, since we're kind of in a hurry. Let it do its own on the stove. So then you've got this juice, and you're supposed to add fresh lemon juice at 3 tablespoons, up to 3 tablespoons, but you want to taste it after 1 tablespoon and see what it tastes like. So I would go ahead and just cut one of my lemons and read it. Making sure none of the seeds come out. Okay, and then from there I would just taste it. Let me tell you what it tastes like, since you guys cannot taste it. So it has a little bit of sugar, but most of it is just fruit juice. It tastes like a warm syrup, like a fruit syrup, but very watered down. And so once it's chilled and cold, you could drink that and it'd be really good. Let's decorate that one as our final one. We'll take this glass, do our sanding sugar one more time. This time, I think I'll do green. There. I would, oh, my ice is almost all melted. It's such a warm day. In this one, to serve it, I would put, of course we've got lemon juice in there. So I would hang a lemon slice on the edge. But then I would go ahead and slice a strawberry also, because there are berries in this. There's berries and plums and peaches. And then I would float raspberries. Okay. If you had some blackberries or blueberries, that'd be a good color mix too. So what do you guys think? That's my list of drinks that I was going to demo. But there's a couple things on the handout that I would like to just finish up the class talking to you about. And so you can almost take any of these and any recipe that you find that's alcoholic and make it into a non-alcoholic drink. And let's see. I don't know if I can turn it back to me. Okay, there we go. Okay. Wow, I splattered all over my screen. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, so if you look at the very last page, last 2 pages, I don't know if any of you came to my drink class last summer, but we used this purple butterfly pea powder. This there we go. This blue butterfly pea powder is a natural ingredient, and it's a powder that when you put it in lemonade, so it's blue, but then when you add it to lemonade, it swirls into this purple drink. So that's a real fun one to add to drinks. And they have blueberry powder, and then all these other colors too. So you don't have to be beholden to food dyes. You can use these natural powders, and you can get those on Amazon. So, you know, if you wanted to make something green like a Hulk thing or a fairy tale, I don't know, the worm or the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland, that kind of thing. You can get these different colored powders and add them to your simple syrups while they're cooking or afterwards. Just stir them in, and that will make a nice, strong, simple syrup that's a different color. So that's kind of cool. The other thing was the pina colada squeezable thing. So I had to buy that big bottle of pina colada, but there's one for a little bit less. It's a squeezable, like almost a ketchup bottle, and they have that at H-E-B too, so that's kind of nice. The ones I looked for prickly pear stuff at H-E-B. I was hoping that there would be a prickly pear syrup, but there wasn't any, and so I wasn't able to get anything prickly pear. But you can go ahead and pick the prickly pear cactus and boil them and make them, and then put that into a simple syrup, and then you can have a prickly pear concentrate, and you could even freeze that and wait. The other thing that they were out of, I was so sad, at H-E-B was sangria. H-E-B makes a sangria in a can, like a soda can, and so you're able to use the sangria to mix as a base for all your drinks that call for, and that would have been perfect for this berry one that I did with the peaches and plums is a very good basic one, and that's almost like a sangria. And in fact, you could float orange slices and lemon slices into that, and then you've got a sangria also by using the fruit, the mashed fruit, and then the syrup that comes with that. So I don't have any more to share. There's just a lot of fun things that you can do. I've got mint that is wonderful when you just stick it in if you don't do anything else from this class, just next time you make lemonade, just stick your mint inside the pitcher of lemonade, and by the time you've gone through the meal, it will be just delicious. It's the mint just gets absorbed into the lemonade, and it's really nice. The other thing that's really nice is lavender lemonade. If you've ever taken dried lavender, if you have lavender sprigs, and then put that in lemonade and just stir it. Nothing to do with it. You don't have to do anything to the lavender, as long as you know where that lavender was grown. Same with the mint. If it's you have to make sure it's a culinary lavender, meaning that someone didn't use chemicals on it when they grew it, and then it makes it usable for recipes. And I think that's it.